Feel comfortable.
I feel comfortable everywhere. I'm my father's son, right?
Yes.
No, but speaking of the Red Book, I was just looking through this, and it reminds me of when I was writing my eulogy for my father. He has such an oeuvre. His milieu is so wide, I had to pare it down to get it to where I could say something in a reasonable amount of time. And it was easy to write his eulogy, but it was also hard because there's so much you could say about a man like him. And just looking through here, I just light, his unbridled optimism for the people around him and his children and strangers, everything in between. Healing, like his relationships, they were so healing. He was so non-judgmental and accepting of those around him. Hospitality, well, Dad, wherever he was, would accept hospitality and eat with gusto. We were just talking about that. He relished all that life had to offer. And the awesomeness of God. I get my nature from my mother, and my intellect, I think, from my father. And I think both of them together kind of opened my heart to the awesomeness of God, who has my soul. And I think that I couldn't have better parents, and both were instrumental. And my father very much in to do with the way my ideology has transformed and my theology. And I guess that wouldn't be surprising. But my father is such a prescient man. He wrote this, I don't know how long ago, Jack? When do you think?
It says 2013.
Okay, so this is about the time of his emeritus and that. So.
Yes.
I love these words. Dave read it not so long ago. But I would like to, if you have the purple sheet, you can read along. But it's just, these are his words, and it really reflects what he felt about those around him, and especially his children and grandchildren. And when he fell, a great crash reverberated through the forest, and cries echoed all around. But when the dust of morning settled, there was laughter in the air. His life was full, his joy complete, his work was done. The place he filled was once a clearing, while all alone he stood. But now surrounded by his family, he was supported on all sides by their love and understanding, their laughter and their zeal. And when, in the way of all things, his day to sunset had run, his joy could not be greater, for they held him in their bosom, and his happiness was complete. In the years, they had all outgrown him in compassion and in love. And all he ever stood for and all that he had loved, he saw in them, and it gladdened his overflowing heart. Many had come to him for shelter when the storms of life were wild, and he loved them into wholeness, and they blessed him in return. And now he saw his children, who believed as he himself, perform their acts of compassion, and so his song went on, echoing down the valleys and across these prairies wide. How could he not be proud? How could he not be fulfilled? For the God who was his guide and strength was also leading them. There is no greater legacy than this. And when he fell, his joy was great. Alex.
Thanks, man.